to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jamie, you play over your prayer, please.
Dear Lord, we want to thank you for allowing us to gather here today. We ask that you please be with the council as it handles the items on this agenda. We ask that you please remember all the families represented at this table and the citizens for the town of Gordonsville. These things we ask in thy name.
Call the meeting to order and have a roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Potts. Here. Councilwoman Biggs. Absent. Might be her. Councilwoman Van Treese.
Here.
Councilman Hart.
Here.
Councilman Prophet.
Here.
I do things a little different.
One absent. Approval of the minutes. You all read and looked over the minutes. Any comment? Are there any additions or corrections? They will stand to prove as read. Line item number 6, police report. Any questions for the chief?
Just I can see something wrong with the red light down there. Just something to do with the traffic. The traffic's getting worse down here during the summertime, so. Vacationers and tractor drivers and stuff like that, you know, it's all a mess down there, so. I don't know what to do with it.
Any other questions? Line item 7, fire report. Anybody here from the fire department? I don't see any. Line item number 8, financial statements. Any questions on the financial statement? Line item 9, fireworks permit. We have one, you have one there from James Austin Cope. B&B Fireworks, Russellville, Kentucky. Certificate of liability, State of Tennessee permits. A certificate of registration, State of Tennessee. The lease agreement.
Same ones that always set up.
Looks like everything's in order.
I believe this is the one near the car wash.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, wrong, dog.
That'd be a motion.
Yes,
Yes.
motion to approve.
Approve the permit.
I'll make a motion, we approve the permit, fireworks permit.
I'll second that motion.
Parts to approve, second. Hart, roll call.
Vice Mayor Potts?
Yes.
Councilwoman Biggs is absent. Councilwoman Van Treese?
Yes.
Councilman Hart?
Yes.
Councilman Prophet?
Yes. Okay, line item 10, we got a letter, you should have it in your packet there from the State of Tennessee under environmental and conservation. Never before have we charged for permits to tear down an old building or house. Now, they send the form, you see that we are. I'm sure that's for asbestos and lead paint. So before we can tear a house down there, it's got to be inspected by a licensed control regulators require building owners and operators thoroughly inspect buildings for asbestos containing material ACM prior to demolition of this person. Inspection for an ACM must be accredited by the state of the Tennessee. Require owners and operators to file a notification statement 10 days prior to demolition of building, even if there is no asbestos.
Have you had time to look at this, Jamie?
I looked at it before the meeting. It's, seems to be, that state reg is gonna be a state law as much as a statute, so, I don't believe there's any option. I think we gotta do it.
I mean, is this something that we can pass on? We don't have to hire that
No.
type of person, we just have to recommend that, hey, this is what the state makes us do.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Just make
Make it known.
anybody that comes in to make them aware of it.
Do we necessarily have to charge for that?
You'll have to pay the inspector who he is.
You'll have to pay to whoever inspects it, yes, sir. You'll have, it accredited by the state of Tennessee to.
Well, does that mean
review
though
the
that we
asbestos.
have to hire that, or do we just recommend that they hire somebody and turn the paperwork in to the state, is what I'm asking.
Just request your assistance in making contractors and building owners aware of the regulations. You can certainly put it on the property owner to do it. You would just need to provide them that, and they would have to submit the form.
Right,
Yeah.
I'd hate to get involved in something that we didn't necessarily have to get involved in.
No, they just have to complete it before we could issue the permit. So you could put it on the person making the application to,
Just the first time
Yes,
you've
sir.
seen this letter here?
yes, sir.
Okay.
But you could put it on the owner or the operator, contractor or the owner of the property. Could be responsible to have the form complete.
What do y'all think? I mean,
I agree, I mean, that would take
We
off
shouldn't.
of us, and
It
we
shouldn't
should
be
be
us.
responsible for that, that should be up to the owner of the property here.
I don't read this
Trouble
as
is, they-
requiring the council to necessarily do anything,
Right.
just to make them aware when they, if you had the form, to give them the application when they ask for the permit to tear it
How's
down.
people gonna know? Because they've never had to do this before, and they'll start tearing something down before they ever.
Do you have to get a permit to tear anything down?
Well, no, we haven't had one.
Haven't had one
No.
before?
So, yeah,
See, I thought about that too. How are they gonna know? They
Yeah,
may have it tore down.
well, they tear
Or they
down
know.
on Saturday or Sunday, you know.
Well, if you'll give me one more meeting, I'll investigate and see what others are doing, and whether that needs to be, whether we perhaps need to adopt some type of ordinance to require a permit to demolish a building. Might not be a bad idea, but I'll talk to MTS and I'll see what other jurisdictions are doing. Yeah. This letter just came out on May 1st, so they can't really expect us to know a whole lot yet, but we'll get there. If it could be on the agenda next month as well, I'll look at it and have an answer for you.
Line item 11, discussion on a building inspector.
that just goes with the budget. That goes with the proposed budget.
Oh, okay. There's not anything in the building inspector, just applications. Right, yeah, we looked at one.
Well, we get 2 applications.
Two applications.
Have you looked at both applications, Jamie?
I have.
Did I not request that those be sent to Jamie to look over?
I called him.
He did. We have discussed them.
With this last piece of business here also. Are they within the state regulations, the 2 that have applied?
I spoke with the mayor related to that. The biggest issue that was of concern was whether they had to be bonded and insured. Liability insurance being a primary question. I did research that issue. He called me 2 weeks ago about that as they were reviewing the applications. I found no legal requirement that they be bonded or insured. However, I would not in any manner recommend that you contract with anybody that wasn't. I did speak with MTS about that, and they spoke with the State Fire Marshal's office, did a canvass of their office as well, and you don't have a full-time building inspector that's an employee of the city, say, as larger enterprises would. So anybody that you do engage with, I believe, needs to have general liability and an errors and omissions policy of, at least what the fireworks requires of $1 million, $2 million. And that would be the biggest question I have, because they're going to be effectively independent contractors just like I would be or anyone else. So that would be my primary concern, that they certainly have the professional liability insurance, because it could expose the city if they don't. And they're not going to fall under yours because you have it, but they're not employees, so they would not fall under yours. So that was an issue that we had talked about.
Did anybody reach out to the other applicant to see if he was,
I don't have any number on him.
you don't have it in your back pocket?
Yeah, I've got that, but it's not my responsibility to do that. I took the requirement just like I did the other one. I haven't done anything now. I didn't do anything. I took the application that he presented, and I put them in that, and I gave them to y'all. I'm not gonna alter any, and I'm not gonna run people down. They put their application in, and then y'all can work from there. Now, if you want to put it off another month, and you want to call him and see if he's got the license, or if he has got the liability insurance, we'll do that. But it's not my responsibility to run people down after they turn in an application and say, well, you do this and you do that, need no more than I did the other three or any of the others.
Well, I believe it would be a common courtesy.
Well, it's not, I'm not fixing to alter any applications, John. I mean, I'll take them as they come. If you want to see if he is insured, that'll be fine. You can wait another month and you can call him and ask him.
Can you get me a list of what he doesn't have and what you do recommend? And then I make a motion that we table this to next meeting.
Motion
And
made.
I don't, I'm sorry,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Mayor, real quick, I don't see, as far as deficiencies in the actual qualifications for the position in either application, I don't see anything, but that is, I know in the other one, that is something that I would wanna see from your point of view, is to make sure that he's
Well,
got
that's
the
what I
proper
want
insurance
is-
coverage.
That's what I
And it
want.
would look very similar to what you see on those fireworks applications.
Or any application, anything we do, whether it's paving or anything that we do, they have to be licensed and bonded.
Was that in the article that you read in the paper? Did we list those requirements? I saw the ad, but I just barely glanced over it. Do you remember?
I don't remember, I didn't put it in there.
Just have all the state requirements.
Yes, sir. But we will find out if he's got it.
There's a motion on the table.
Motion made to table until next month on the building inspector, need
I
a second.
second.
Got a second, Charlie Croft. Motion made by Vice Mayor Potts.
Vice
Roll
Mayor,
call.
Vice Mayor Potts.
Yes.
Councilwoman Biggs is absent. Councilwoman Van Treese.
Yes.
Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Prophet.
Yes.
Table until next month.
Line item 12, discuss sanitation technician, maintenance technician. I think we've got 3 applications.
When we take applications, does anybody call and check on these people? Any kind of references or,
They've got
Anything.
references on them, I think.
I mean, you know, anybody can write anything
Well, we
down.
don't, no, we don't do that.
You
We
know,
haven't-
you're-
And we haven't done a background check on it, have we, Shannon?
We need to start doing all that kind of
No,
stuff. If we're gonna hire people and fire them, we need to know something about them. You do everywhere else. If you go to work, they're gonna check you out. If you go to work somewhere, they're gonna check you out. I mean, that's something we need to start doing if y'all, just like not being able to talk about it. I think the city council will be able to get together with the applications and look at them and talk about it before we decide who we're gonna hire or
Well,
fire.
we sent you out letters.
No, I'm talking about us sit down together as a council and look at the applications and discuss it.
You just understand everything you do though is an open meeting. You
Yes,
have to do
yeah,
that
yes,
as it would have to be a called meeting.
right.
Or you call it a work session.
Or either have it, you know, take the applications by a certain time and then have another full month before you decide on who you're gonna hire. Is that what y'all think?
When is Eugene's last day?
Yeah, this month. Well, we've got 3 apps there tonight. How do y'all wanna vote on it? Do you want to, go around and vote for who you want, or?
And Mr. Prophet, any motion that's made could be subject to verifying references and an appropriate background check.
Right.
So you could certainly qualify, just because you made the motion, you could certainly qualify that references be acceptable and that they pass a sufficient background check. So
Right.
that could be covered before, certainly they
Which
take
I'm
that.
asking them if that, you know,
It-
is that something?
That's something that should be done. You're absolutely right.
I think it should be.
Especially in this position for the background check.
Right.
Tony Harris, Dakota, Preston, Ronnie Langford. I guess we'd better open floor for nominations for a sanitation maintenance technician.
What does this position pay?
I would say, somewhere around $14.50. That's what I had plans on. Anybody got any problems with that?
No.
I don't even know what nobody's making. I mean, is that the start, pretty much the starting salary?
Well, yeah, that's, if you don't do that, you won't get anybody to apply.
Well, no, I
mean,
agree
that's,
that.
I mean, we've got to pay halfway within line. I need a motion to hire a sanitation technician, maintenance technician. Out of the three, Tony Harris, Dakota Preston, Ronnie Langford.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Mr. Ronnie Langford for
Right.
that position of maintenance technician.
Ronnie Langford has been nominated. Floor is now open for a second nomination.
And calling it a nomination is fine, no problem with that, just, this is an employed position, it's not
Okay.
an appointed position by the council, it is an employed, nomination's fine, just, it's not, you're not filling somebody for a board or a committee or anything.
Nominate Harry.
That's correct.
Are there any second nominations? I need a motion, nomination cease to be elected by acclamation.
I'll make that motion, that nomination cease and he be,
Just employed.
employed.
Employed by acclamation. We need to vote on
Yes, sir.
You got a second?
that? I got to have a second.
I second that they cease.
And it'd be hired by acclamation again. Roll call in.
Vice Mayor Potts.
Yes.
Councilwoman Biggs is absent. Councilwoman Van Treese.
Yes.
Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Prophet.
Yes.
All right, Ronnie Langford was hired then. All right. Line item 13, first reading of ordinance 19-0513 for the fiscal year 2019 and 2020 budget. Floor is open for discussion.
I'd like to see us look into getting the red light fixed at the interstate. I don't know if we need to receive bids on that, but I don't know what the cost will be. But I'd like to look into that and see what it costs to get it fixed.
What are you talking about?
The red light at the interstate,
I don't know that, but I
sensors have been broken for a long time.
So
And
you're talking about putting up more poles and having sensors and state-of-the-art LED and the whole shoot match.
I have no idea. I just want, I mean, if it's, we can fix what's there, I mean, I don't know anything about that technology, so. With the traffic studies that we've done, that's the first item of business to help our traffic flow is the, fixing the sensors. They're on a timer right now, and the sensors are broken. And we had tried to file that with insurance, but evidently didn't get anything, didn't receive anything on that.
No.
Oh,
Yeah, because the traffic's just getting worse and worse.
yeah.
That's fine,
That's what I was gonna ask. The state wouldn't compensate any, where that's on a state highway right there, but I guess where it falls within their city limits, correct? Okay.
Is that our red light?
It is.
Yeah, they give it,
We,
they give it to us.
they give it to us.
They
Well,
gave
we're
it.
supposed to take care of it
Yeah.
from now on.
Yeah.
From now on, I think.
I'm like Councilman Potts on that. What, any ideas of what the cost of that would be? to
I've
do
heard
that?
once or twice, but it's not cheap. And we can get in touch with some people and we can get some bids and bring them back.
Yeah, I don't think it would be, I mean, I don't think anybody would charge us for a bid,
Just see what,
you know,
the run the figure.
yeah, I mean, we could call some
No,
people.
no, we can get some bids, we
Maybe it's
probably
tore up and
would
need
have
to
to
be
bid it
fixed.
anyway, so, I mean, I don't even know who we would get in contact with, but it's been so long, but when
You know
we
who
did
to
the
contact?
study, I mean, that was their recommendation, was it?
I'm sure y'all had problems.
Well,
Electric
listen,
done a lot of work
they
for
are
us over
fixing,
there.
I'm under that they're fixing to pave that road, see?
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, we don't wanna put anything in the pavement anyways, we want the above ground sensors.
Right.
Now, what that would cost, I have no idea. But, Michael, we'll see if we
They
can.
put new sensors in when they pay you?
I don't
Well,
know.
No, they won't put that, that's,
I mean, they're not but that deep under the pavement. So,
yeah, but, we don't want them back again.
yeah, they'll just break again.
Yeah, if, the ones we
I
want,
don't know if they just go ahead and do it or not. Well, you know.
no,
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 I mean, if they can't go too deep on the pavement, they'll cover them up. I mean, if they was there originally, I mean,
I don't
they
care
have
as,
to raise them up.
I don't care as an employee to look into that. I mean, I've done some research on it.
if you've done some research on it, what have you got?
Well, I've not called anybody because I've not had the permission to do that. I've just, some companies and looking at some stuff.
Okay, we'll check on that next month, and bring it back to council. Anything else, have you, any more questions on this budget? The only thing we don't know anything about is the local option tax, because we don't have any idea what's gonna happen on that. And we figured the worst that we can come up to $100,000 short,
And every time we discuss it and run figures on it, it gets worse, so.
so we're gonna be short on
It's not
that,
gonna be
we're gonna be
pretty for a
short on
while.
liquor. And, I don't know, I saw. Everything else seems to be up to par, pretty much so.
We made some cheat sheets here for y'all about some stuff that we know is going on and going up and down, so.
We do know that gasoline is up. And, let's see, let's get- that election's gonna be $25,000, and we got to have a central unit out here for the library, that's $5,000. And of course, employees raise 50 cents would be about 16,000 for Medicare and retirement. The investment charge for street lights, we have had to pick up another $1,350 on that for them. But we know next year we're gonna try to put in 2 sewer taps down at the park, and sewer bills for the park, and that's minor, and, that mixed drink for Board of Education that we're gonna lose somewhere in the neighborhood of $4,000, and we just estimating on maybe $2,000 worth of trash cans we buy every year, and maybe we won't have to buy none next year. We just bought some, didn't we, John?
Yeah, they ain't never got delivered yet.
We
hadn't got them yet, but
So
you've
we
ordered
should,
'em.
we should be in good shape, of course, that's minor. And John
That's
approached me
repairs,
about
but-
maybe doing some repairs to the
Oh,
picnic shelter down there.
That's what I was asking.
We're gonna have to, get some contractors or some, or carpenters or something, and maybe that backside of that building, one building out there needs to be taken out. So we estimated that, and Of course, we know gas, $1.92 to $2.59. Insurance on 2 new vehicles, and of course, we had an increase of insurance on the fire hall, and electric bills and street lights and blah, 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 blah. Everything else is going up. Everything's up, gas, electricity, and that. So that's all minor. I mean, I think that's minor. That's nothing that's there. I think this budget right here will be fine. Yes, sir.
I had a question, just curiosity on the, does the county on the library, on that central unit, would they,
We furnish the building.
okay,
We furnish the building and the sewer, and they pay the water and electricity.
okay. I was curious, I didn't know for sure on
I
that.
inherited that. That's been here forever.
Gotcha.
We've nursed that dude for a
Long time.
The 2 new vehicles, you talking about
Build police car and,
the ones we just got?
yeah,
I
the
mean,
ones we
got
bought
back
last
in-
year, yeah.
I've got another question too with the park. Is there any kind of money that we could get maybe that would help towards some of that?
I haven't seen it yet.
I thought I might throw that out there, you know, to see, especially with it being a park, because
Well,
I
it'd
get
be-
a lot of.
you haven't, park pretty well takes care of itself. I mean, time you pay the people to clean it up and pay the electric bill and the water bills and repairs, and we just replaced the tables out there, 2 years ago, and it's not really that big a deal. It's there, so I mean, I did put in for a grant and possibility with Virginia Solomani Alexander for down at the boat ramp to build a shelter down there and to build some restaurants. And what was it 90-10 or 95? 95. It's a 95-5 match. I mean, and like I said, I was down there today and some fellas come out there fishing out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So and it's a desperate need of some restaurants down there real bad. So, and I'm not talking about porta johns, I'm talking about some nice restrooms and maybe a shelter. So she put in for that. So we have put in for that, but as far as this park out here, there's not much down the pipe.
What is this right here?
I can't
Or,
read.
it's about the beer deal.
The liquor.
Because of Carthage passing
well,
ordinance.
well, yeah, we losing on the liquor. Our liquor's down.
Because
Oh, you're saying because they passed it, all right.
Yeah,
I
our
understand.
liquor's down.
I thought
because-
that.
No.
I was like, what?
You're
What
losing
else is
demand.
that? Yeah, right, I understand now.
Wait,
I didn't
yeah.
know.
It's not as bad as I thought it was though. I thought
Right.
it was gonna be $25,000, but it's, what'd you say, about 14? Well, the beer may be up a little bit. We thought it was gonna be worse than this, but it's not that big a deal. And it's just, the biggest thing's gonna be if we lose that local option. That's gonna be the biggest deal on that 3/4. I mean, that's there. I mean, that's $100,000. That's a drop. That's a drop for us. 20 cents property tax. And I didn't say we're gonna raise it, but I'm saying that's what it would cost if you replaced it back. I mean, that's how big of a deal it is. And our property tax rate's not 76 cents, 76 points on it. So, I mean, you talking. I mean, it's a big deal. That 3/4%. Any more discussion on the budget?
I got something, on the employee raise.
Yes.
Last year it was discussed on, at the $1.50 mark, and 75 cents last year and 75 cents this year. I was just wanting to know where that stood.
Well, like I said, on that $100,000 deal, finance people put the numbers to it, and we came back out with maybe 50 cents. Now, if y'all wanna give them 75 cents, we can live with it just like we did last year. But,
I just know that's what was said last year.
well, yeah, it was, and we didn't really know we were gonna lose this $100,000 neither. And I see it'll make any difference if it passes or not, because it'll be in August. They won't collect until September. They won't pay it until October, so we won't start drawing again until November. So you've got, July, August, September, October, November. No, we're gonna miss 5 months. So that's at least $40,000 right there. We know we're gonna lose. Now, we put the budget together. We work on it. My finance people, they know more about the numbers than I do, and we put it together, and that's what we thought. And if y'all want to give them 75 cents, that's what they did last year. We'll change it to 75 cents. That's y'all's discussion.
I
That's
know
y'all's.
that, we was talking about, getting, closer to other departments and stuff like that, as far as pay. Carthage also gave us 75 cents last year, so it kinda just kinda moved on. I just wanna be competitive in the, pay scale, just to, if we need to hire someone, we can, without having a lot of troubles.
Are we gonna have a workshop to talk about the budget some more? This ain't, we're not passing tonight,
No,
are we?
we're
You're
not,
just
just the
passing
first-
it on
first
first reading
reading.
tonight.
Yep.
You could make changes between now and the next time, yes, sir.
But we also
So that
have
is an
to,
option.
have to remember that on local option, last month, our part of it, we collected 66,700. Carthage collected 218,000. So after the half to the school and the half to the 14% goes to the general fund on the other, our check after another 1% was taken out and went to general fund was 25,196, and Carthage was 76,000. So they are receiving 3 times as much local option money as we are. So we, and I'd be afraid to see what Lebanon's was and all those others. We've got to take care of our flowers and let them take care of theirs. We can't get into that because we're bringing in this so much money, and I mean, in my deal, I've always had to run my household on what I made, not on what my neighbor made. If he come in with a new Lincoln Continental, that didn't mean I was gonna have to get out and go after him. So,
It's Lincoln's,
but that was a recommendation from the finance people. Now, if y'all want to give them 75 cents, or if you don't, we'll.
Also, I guess I'm losing an officer now, since y'all hired him for the maintenance crew. That monies he's making, we'll be hiring somebody at less pay than what that is, so. I just wanna throw it out there.
Less pay than what we're gonna pay him to do that?
No, less pay than what he makes right now as an officer,
Oh,
where he's been here. so
Yeah.
many
His
years.
starting would be less than
What
Right.
Ronnie's current.
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 His or hers starting would be less than what Ronnie's.
He understood.
If we do the special election, when were we going to have that?
August.
August.
We have, and that's a matter under old business, but tonight you'll vote on the language that will go on the referendum by resolution. In fact, the county still has until May 18th, which I guess is this week, to pick that up. They had the 40 days. I've had no indication they're going to, but
They
Still
won't
could
till
happen.
next year. They'll pick it up next year. They'll pick it up next August in 2020. they're forever holding peace. You wanna go with this budget, or do you want to go back and put 25 more cents in it?
And like we talked about, you have another reading of this.
Oh,
So if there is a change, it can still be made.
I'll make it known, I can't speak to this, so. I'll get that out there.
And I can only speak for the police department. I can't speak for all employees.
Always been my policy though, that if the janitor got a quarter, the city recorder got a quarter. That's just, this percentage and deal, I mean, these are supposed to be cost of living wages, and a loaf of bread costs the janitor the same amount as it does the city recorder, or the police chief, or whoever. It's the same. I never did like percentages. The bigger they get further, and the smaller gets smaller, so that's.
Well, I'll say this, I feel that we should be competitive with other like size departments and towns to keep, say that we have an officer or whomever employee that's, you know, training, been here for a couple of years, then all of a sudden, hey, so-and-so's getting this, well, guess what, that officer's left to go there. And I mean, I know that we can't compete with bigger cities, but I'm saying size towns of ours comparable to.
And I'm not
What's that?
asking to remember bigger city pay like that. Just what was said last year is what I would like to see. Nothing no more, no less.
All we did was put in what we thought was fitting for the budget. And the answer to the question is yes, we can carry it. But there is also a deal that if we start losing this much on that, and if the tax didn't pass, and if they're there, and we start coming in lower revenue, then something's got to be cut. And probably the first thing we'd have to cut is not pave roads up. We've been real fortunate to pave streets and do concrete sidewalks, curbing, and that was always on top of mine was the roads. I mean, our infrastructure is that you've got to have good roads. I mean, and that has always been I always like to take care of these roads. But it's up to y'all. You wanna go 50 cents, you wanna go 75? What do you think, Charlie?
Well, I like to keep our officers. I mean, you know, I hate to lose to anybody.
How was this presented
Last time.
time? Just curiosity,
Same
me
way.
being a newcomer to the group on
Yeah,
council.
me too.
Same way, 50 cents, and they asked for that, and they passed it, council passed
The council passed the,
it.
75.
Yeah, the 75.
Just for last year, though, right?
for last year's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was $1.50, and they agreed to do 75 cents this past budget, and 75 cents this upcoming budget.
But there wasn't nothing etched in stone. Once again, my job is to try to see that we've got enough money here on Friday to pay everybody
Yes, sir.
Right.
and what to take care of. And like I said, I have no problem. If you want to give them 75 cents, that's fine. We have given $1 before. But I'd really, like we said, we're on the downside this year. It's not as good as it has been, and we don't know. These figures are all just absolutely pulled out of the hat, and it's a guess. It's pretty much
Educated guess.
It's probably, it may be an educated guess, but it's a guess. And rule of thumb when you're putting a budget together is on, that I always thought, that you figured your expenditures high and your income low. Now that's what I've always seen and the way they did it, and it's always better to be expecting $100,000 to come in $90,000. So the bills, and it's if you're putting in for revenue for 90 and it comes into 100. So I mean, but we running. You look at it there. You look at what percentage is left and what there. I mean, most of them are running pretty neck and neck.
Are we budgeting for a car this year?
Yes.
Do we need another new car?
But it's almost cheaper than getting them worked on.
Well, I'm just saying, I know how many have we got and how old are they, how many miles have they got on them, and
Goldson's got right over 100,000 miles. If we get one more, it'll put a whole unit, a whole fleet that's actually pretty new. And then they'll have 2 spare cars.
that's old cars or new
That's all
fire
cars.
engine?
Well, they'll be 100,000 mile cars.
Oh.
Which for spare cars is legit. All the paddles we got, they're just nitpicking us to death, to be quite honest.
Well, they're 9 years old. We bought a car the first year I was here, and that was 2011. And we bought a car every year.
Siemens.
Yes, yes.
I've had to put 3 air conditioners on in the last, well, 2 on in the last month, and
That's a lot.
If you look at her
That's
expense,
$1,000
her expense on her cars is pretty high.
That's the only thing that's even remotely.
That and brakes, you have a lot of
percent
problems.
of the
Right.
budget. It's bad in my budget.
I was always a firm believer of that one. Was on the county commission, they had 20, at that time, they had 21 cars, and we got to buying 7 a year. In about 3 years, the way they run, of course, we don't run near as many miles, so there were 3 years, then you replaced them out. And years ago on the school buses, I know there was like 30 of them, and they'd buy 3 a year, and they would last back then 10. They tell me now they'll last 15 or 20. But we got into that old county over there, got it, and
It was ungodly.
they were spending like $150,000.
We don't put that.
What kind of miles?
That's what I
on
was
you?
gonna ask, Chief. How many
And
miles?
they're not
per year?
expired on them neither.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Well, how many miles a year do y'all put on the car?
Just
Just roughly.
Probably 15, something like that, I would think. He probably put more on his because he's going home. But these just stay here.
15,000 a year?
About 20,000 miles a year.
about 20 a year.
Well, now one of those cars is 9 years old. It ain't got 180,000. You said it had about 100.
Well, just an approximate.
Yeah.
I ain't counted it up.
I mean, I'd say they run 10, 15,000 miles. a year.
Some officers run about 100 miles a night. Some of them run 50. Just calling what they're doing.
Right.
You know, it's just
Yeah, I definitely don't want to take that car.
it's kind of a crapshoot. And if you got a bunch of calls going on, you're just going from business to business or house to house. It ain't too bad for just patrolling. You patrol about 80 miles a night usually. So if you take 80 times 5, that's 400 miles a week. For 52 weeks, 20,000 miles. And you gotta count off the vacation stuff when the car's not moving, so maybe 15.
And you said you have many ACs you'd replaced lately?
I replaced one at the summer of last year, and I replaced 2 this year. And I've gassed one of them up.
At first, we had a bad experience with it. They put all that wiring and everything up under the dash, and then it was brand new and the air conditioner went out. General Motors, they would fix the air conditioner, but we had to pay somebody to take all that stuff back out. Then they fix the air conditioner, then we put it back in. So we've had some.
That's probably $2,500 just to install the wiring and put it back.
Well, it probably wasn't that much then. That's been 9 years ago. We've experienced that was only one, but we had bad luck at first. All right, what you gonna do? 50 or 75?
Would it be a little over 8,000 if we upped it? In addition to the 16, if we upped it to
Be about
75?
what it'd be, you know.
Close.
Be 24 instead of 16.
I feel like if we told them last year we'd do 75, that's what we should try to do if it's within the budget at all.
I agree with Miss Barbara on that myself.
Okay, so we'll change it from 50 cents to 75 cents.
Don't think I'm not great for a 50-cent raise, but you know,
Mr.
$50 is
Profit,
a good raise.
I need a motion for that, to change that from 50 to 75.
Just a motion to approve the
Approve the
ordinance
ordinance, yeah.
with that change.
Yes.
Well, I make the motion to approve this budget with the additional 25 cents an hour for the employees.
Second,
I'll second that motion.
Barbara makes a motion, Mr. Hart, Councilman Hart seconds. Roll call,
Vice Mayor Potts.
Yes.
Councilwoman Biggs is absent. Councilwoman Van Treese.
Yes.
Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Profit.
Yes.
All right, budget approved on first reading with a 75-cent raise.
okay, we'll move
That
on.
sounds good.
We'll move on to new business. Anybody got any new business?
I'd like to.
Go ahead.
I'd like to just mention something. I don't want to make nobody mad, first of all. But this has been going on for 2 or 3 years. We have people sitting out here at the interstate that's selling fruit and vegetables.
We get paid for that.
I'd like to see I'd like to see their permit and where we're getting paid for that.
We'll go get it.
Because somebody's been out here for 2 weeks. I want to see it.
He gets, costs him $50 for 2 weeks. And we.
And wait just a second. Let me ask you another thing. Does the firework people not have to have permission from the landowners to set up anywhere they say?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to see his written permission to
Well,
set
it
up.
was in that application there.
No, I'm talking about the fruit guy.
Huh?
I'm talking about the fruit guy. I want to see his. I want to see his
Well, you
permission.
tell me who owns that and we'll get, we'll
The
get.
state.
The state?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well,
So, because it's a traffic hazard. One thing. If you don't believe me, just go down there and say it, son. When they're all pulling right here, and he's back here, and the people's trying to pull out from McDonald's and off the interstate. And I mean, I know that or I guess y'all passed something before about this. I don't
it's
know.
been here
That's why I'm
forever.
asking.
It's been here forever. I mean, that's here when I came. It's $50 for 2 weeks.
So, I think it's referred to as a peddler's.
Vendor, peddler,
Yeah.
vendor's license.
For 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Okay, so he's supposed to come in here every 2 weeks and get
he
his
does.
permit.
And he does. If he doesn't, we send those guys right down there and they shut them down.
Okay.
I went down there and checked.
Because it's not fair, this man over here to pay.
And it's not, and they're complaining about it
and,
because he don't pay no kind of sales tax or he don't pay
Well,
nothing.
But he pays a vendor's tax. He pays it every 2 weeks.
He don't pay the same business tax as I do,
No, I
Okay.
didn't say that.
and I live here.
I didn't find a permit, but I found a receipt where Trout paid $50
When?
on the 30th of
I was about to say, it was right when I got here, I remember him
and
coming
it's for
in.
15 days.
Well, it's up.
Days of 13.
13, he's not another day. But now we watch that. Back me up, Shannon. That's the first thing we call is how they are running on those things. Now,
I think you ought to have permission from somebody.
now, Charlie, if a farmer raises corn in this county and he brings that in here, there's nothing we can do with that. If
I
a guy-
understand that.
If a guy is raising, say, honey, if it's local honey and he raised it, he brings it in here. If he raises his watermelons or his pumpkins,
I understand that.
we get nothing. It's these guys though that they go buy the stuff and then they bring it in here and basically resell it.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lady down there doing honey, and then she actually, that's her, she does it from home.
Right.
But
It's
Trap-
local honey.
But it's right beside Trap down there, but I know Trap, I mean, the guy is.
Right.
We do check them periodically.
But any ordinance you've got, you can look at again. So,
Right.
it's on the books now.
Okay.
All right, John, what'd you?
I was just gonna say, as far as the, getting these packets, I know, Michael, you're new, is this something we can receive a little bit earlier?
Sure.
These other guys may like email, I kinda like hard copies, 'cause I don't email a whole lot. But I mean, that'd be something we might wanna work into the next, I mean, I ain't saying do it next month, but just
Okay.
something we may look at.
How quick you want?
Sure.
Couple days, couple days, would that be fine with y'all? I mean, I know, you want it as close to possible as, the figures, I don't know
Yeah.
when you generally run those. When do you generally run this stuff?
The cutoff for stuff is on Monday before. If anybody wants to be added to the agenda, we put the cutoff,
Before.
the cutoff on the Monday,
Yeah, just a couple days
Yeah,
to look
2 or 3
over
days
the
before.
financial part of it and
Okay.
stuff like that.
Not a problem.
If we get them here by Friday, you can pick them up on Friday. I don't really wanna mail them.
No, I think everybody be, you may want it email, I don't know.
It doesn't matter, I can pick it up.
It's not like y'all not passing by here about 3 times every day.
Well, y'all, I'll leave before y'all get here and you're gone when I come back through.
You can call me, I'll get you.
I might have to. I ain't seen Gary.
Any more new business? Okay, I turned it over to you for
Old
the old
business.
business.
Yes, sir. Very quickly, we've discussed at length tonight the local option special referendum that the town approved back in April. The election commission has accepted our ordinance, as far as I know, they hadn't told me otherwise. And the election supervisor would like to go ahead and get the language for the ordinance, or what it would look like on the ballot. That's the best way I know how to put it. I spoke, while I talked to MTS about that other issue, I also asked them about this. They had a sample they recommended, which I have looked at and I have no problem with, but it's in the form of a resolution. I don't know that we've got a copy for everybody, but in essence, it would, if you'll allow me just to read it, and I just need approval of the resolution, and I'll get it to the election supervisor. It would appear on the ballot, and this is what they recommend. Shall ordinance number 19-3-12 passed by the town of Gordonsville, which increases the sales tax rate of the town from 2% to 2.75% on the same privileges subject to the retailer sales tax under Tennessee Code Annotated Title 67, Chapter 6, Parts 1 through 6 be approved. And then you'll just have a spot that says yes and no. So it will, that's how they normally look when you vote in countywide elections. And the 25,000 you have budgeted, that was what she hoped to be on the high end of the special election, but she'd certainly rather give us that than be surprised at the end. So if that's acceptable, and I have no problem with it, I just need a motion to approve the resolution that would put that on the referendum. And she would look at, it's got to be, you have to wait the 40 days for the county, its consideration, then they have to hold the election no sooner than 75 but no greater than 90, so there's about a however many 15-day window in there. We should have a date probably this week. That's the when it'll be, because the county's time runs this week, or next week maybe. County's time runs this week.
2 weeks of early voting. That's what eat us up. You got to have 2 weeks of early voting, and it'll be at Carthage. for some election commission.
Your last election on this, 10 years ago, longer,
Longer than that, it's longer than that,
I think you voted 65 people.
yeah,
So
60-something people.
it's an expensive process, but it certainly means a huge difference to as far as revenue
Yes.
to the town.
I need a motion for ordinance 19-03-12.
Resolution.
Resolution, resolution, not an ordinance.
I make a motion, we approve the resolution.
Second,
I'll second that motion.
Vice Mayor Potts made the motion, seconded,
Councilman Hart.
yes, sir.
Vice Mayor Potts.
Yes.
Councilwoman Van Treese.
Yes.
Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Prophet.
Yes.
Councilman Biggs is absent.
Anything else to come before the council? Need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion too.
Second,
I second.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Good night.
Slate tight.
Yeah.